iDubbbz is unironically evil, featuring Hasan and Denims. Tried to ruin Ethan's family by Willie Mac Show.
I'm sure there's anti-Semitic people that are attacking you guys, but they're not me. They're not Anissa. It's not Hasan.
I should go to the old city so I can get my fucking shit pushed in by some of the most inbred fundamentalist hicks.
It's not all of these other creators that you're attacking.
Bro, they're literally making up stories to justify falsely calling CPS.
The house is just like covered in dog, and he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog. God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. They can.
See, as the Dark Prince of Slop, this sludge is almost unmilkable. Because it just keeps on coming, dude. It just keeps on coming. It never ends.
Attracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog that is all over his house.
So this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other
there's an indefinite churn. That's right.
illnesses. It's very, very,
Neither of these people bench 225. That's insane.
very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. It makes sense why he doesn't care about Palestinian children when he is neglecting his own. How is this happening? How is it happening? How is this happening?
Crimea river. Her chat like saying, oh, we're gonna call CPS. Oh, someone should call CPS. He's not even remotely like that.
Isn't this guy in a foreign country? Like on the run? Hold on. Argentina?
In fact, a CPS call is warranted.
Where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family.
You're not the biggest victim on the internet, Ethan.
Nah, apparently it's these guys.
Look at them, in the flesh. The Soy Vengers, the Soyletariat, the Soy Society, Denims, Frogan, Ethan, and Sean DeBlack. Philion, you changed. Yeah, you were expecting me to do the Fortnite dance with these clowns, with these bozos? Get a grip, dude. Get a grip.
Be mean to them. If they feel bad, if they feel harassed, honestly, great. I don't give a
They thought we cooked. They didn't even preheat the oven. That's right.
them. Each and every one of them. We need to be mean to these guys. We need to be assholes. They deserve it.
I love that iDubbbz is crying because him and his wife got called a cuck, but then he crazy makes Ethan for people role-playing killing his wife.
Wait, everyone! Ela Klein's in the house. Guys, she was just a secretary. Ela Klein.
Take those prisoners. Take those.
What the fuck?
Those IDF genocidal soldiers. Where do they keep the secretaries? Secretary got.
They literally look like gay skinheads.
Human skulls are getting mailed to their house.
Around the same time, we received 2 human skulls in the
Listen, if you keep hearing notifications, that's because we're one of the most explosive channels in the sea of soy over on Twitch, because we keep it based over here. Just a bunch of based sharks. Just a pod of cataclysmically based killer whales. Apex predators. I mean, if you're not here already, where are you? You don't even have to apologize for being late to the stream because you're still early to the movement.
in the mail at our home.
Twitch.tv/PhilionTV. Over 5K subs 1 month, thanks to our CFO and shareholders.
Which led us to having a very pleasant interview with the FBI.
Dare I say the most disruptive multimedia empire in cyberspace?
Things have progressed well past the point of that's just what the internet does.
I'm done being nice to Ethan. I gave it a chance. My sincerity and my empathy in that last video was real.
Hasan's fans and orbiters are retweeting people saying, I'd love to swing their kid by the legs into an oak tree over and over again.
Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help.
You know you're absolutely fried when people refer to you and your orbiters
help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things.
It's giving Kevin from SpongeBob with the sardines, the minnows following him around. Hi, Kevin.
Eventually, he'll find peace.
All of this is happening and somehow Ethan is labeled the harasser. How can you not see what's going on?
Been watching your YouTube for so long and finally caught a Twitch stream. Many such cases. The dreaded Lemon, welcome to the stream!
God, they're doxing him and trying to take away his kids for mild political differences. That's why this video is sponsored by Aura. And a topic we're
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
This drama stems from Ethan and Hasan's disagreements on Israel-Palestine. Now you might think Ethan must be super far right or something. No, they agree on 95% of things.
Do you believe that Israel is...
Yeah, let's not forget that this is an Ouroboros of alt-leftism, okay? Ethan, Ian, and Hasan are all leftists. But where they differ are these small, incremental, personal, tribalistic ideologies. But since they can't have a mature conversation or respect any sort of differences, they just eat each other. And you know what's left at the end of that? Nothing. A void. A vacuum.
committing a genocide in Gaza?
Yeah.
Sorry, they prefer radical left.
Okay, great. This is a disagreement that you and I have.
No, I
They're imploding. They're literally imploding.
agree with
on this
you.
front.
I agree with
Jordan Peterson unironically talks about this. He's got the famous tweet.
you. If you want to add that,
If
like,
you keep spiraling down this self-destructive path, I mean, soon there'll be no one left to support you.
the genesis of Zionism included, you know, the displacement and
The second you step out of line, you get shot like a dog in the gulags.
you know, the ravaging of the culture that existed there, then I would agree with you.
He even cried for Palestinians getting killed, relating to being a new dad.
As a father, it's even hard to talk about. This dude was holding his infant. It was like a year old. He was like patting her on the back and saying like his final goodbye. I mean, didn't expect to get emotional about that, but like, I'm a new dad and that shit really fucks me up.
Yeah, this wasn't good enough because Anissa is 50% Irish and 50% Lebanese and grew up in Canada, so she can tap into empathy that Ethan can't comprehend.
Lebanon used to be Christian. I'm just saying, that's crazy. Don't even get me started on Syria, Egypt. I mean, something crusades, Islamic expansion, jihad, what? Huh? Still pissed about the Hagia Sophia.
Go ahead.
I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF.
Dude, I'm a mutt, right? Just a European smoothie, 100% American. I never latch on to any sort of oppression because I'm not a perpetual victim maxer. I just don't give a fuck.
So, Anissa is...
All I hear is wah, wah, wah. Psh. I got money to make, places to be, businesses to build, meetings to hold, okay? Workouts to complete.
very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel.
Terrible as the Holocaust was, obviously it was horrendous, and how disgusting the doctor was that did it on Jewish people. They found a couple of really groundbreaking discoveries.
Yeah. Operation Paperclip wasn't all that bad.
that experimentation.
Yeah, she prefers that Nazi propaganda. I am also half Irish, so that makes me an authority on all things in the Middle East, unlike Hasan, who is 0% Irish.
Dude, I should go get my Hasan chain. I stole it. It's upstairs. Should I go get it? Should I go get my Hasan chain?
Ian does this appeal to authority to make Ethan seem like an idiot, but the authority he's appealing to is Hasan.
I would say that Hasan was very well equipped to talk about...
I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get my Hasan chain. I'll be right back. A lot of people say, you're not a rogue, you're not a thief. Explain this. It's crazy. Crazy. I'm from a band of bandits, the likes of which the world has never seen before. My sleight of hand is cracked!
That topic. He's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hasan. Hasan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into.
I have dozens of videos documenting how this dude will blatantly lie and make up conspiracies when covering topics or arguing with people. But we don't even have to reference those videos because another day has passed, and that means Hasan has told a whole new set of lies. So I just want to give you a sample of just how dishonest.
When do the libs start pouring into my stream? I literally have the chain. I have the chain, dude.
This guy is. Ethan talks about Jewish heritage in the Middle East. Hasan then ignores that and argues against something Ethan didn't even say.
Hasan attempts to deny Jewish heritage in the Middle East. It characterizes them not as indigenous, but as white colonizers. This is
the Israeli heritage in the Middle East is now tarnished by... Well, first of all, Israeli heritage in the Middle East. What the f*** is Israeli
Dude,
heritage?
I gotta take this off. I feel the soy emanating from... It's like a... I feel like I disturbed a mummy. There's a spirit trapped in this chain. Whew. That was close. I could only wear it for so long.
In the Middle East, that doesn't exist. Shut the f*** up.
He didn't say Israeli heritage. He said Jewish heritage.
Talking about a 76-year process, okay? You can't really call that heritage in the Middle East, okay? But as far as Jewish heritage in the Middle East, that's valid. You can talk about individually Arab Jews and whatnot, but that's not what you're talking about. You're playing fast and loose, making this dangerous conflation between Judaism and Zionism once again, over and over and over and over again.
You're the one doing that.
Hasan is denying Israeli heritage in the Middle East. The Israeli heritage in the Middle East, you know what that is? Death and destruction, genocide and apartheid. That's the only thing that Israeli heritage is in the Middle East. If you're talking about Jewish heritage in the Middle East, that's a little different, of course.
That's literally what he's talking about. Ethan won the argument without even being there. Hasan's chat finally corrects him for fundamentally misunderstanding Ethan's point, but it doesn't stop him from declaring victory in this imaginary conversation.
Oh, he didn't say Israeli heritage in the Middle East. He said Jewish heritage in the Middle East. My bad. Well, let me tell you, Jewish heritage in the Middle East is not Israeli heritage, okay? So you can't talk about Israel.
Okay, dude.
But we'll talk about Jewish heritage in the Middle East. So my point still stands.
His ego is out of control. Hasan makes up in the debate with Ethan that Iraq gave a right to return for Jewish Arabs after they were kicked out.
Iraqi Jews can go back to their home tomorrow. The Egyptian Jews can go back to their homes tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I don't think any Muslim country wants Palestinian refugees.
That is insane. You are fucking out of your mind.
Yes, they can.
Okay, how?
Which is kind of weird because Islam is the unifying theme here. Inshallah, brother, religion of peace. Come on, help him out. No?
me how.
Can.
How did
They
the Jews go
absolutely
back
can.
to
They
their...
don't want to, and I understand why they wouldn't want to, because America fucking
they want
invaded
to.
and destroyed Iraq.
Why
But
would
yes, they could.
Lonerbox immediately pointed out that Iraq return law specifically excludes Jews. He can't even tell the truth about the pop he's drinking.
Hold on, what are you drinking?
It's a Dr. Pepper cream
Isn't that...
soda.
Who owns that?
I don't know, but it's not on the BDS
Are you
national
sure?
BDS list.
Well,
What's the BDS list? Oh my god, dude. This can't be real, dude! Yeah, my soda is actually... it's pro-Palestinian. These coffee beans are ethically sourced from the Jews working in Costa Rica.
double check.
Yes, I'm 100% sure.
Hasan is so incompetent, he came into a single Google search that shows that the owner of Dr. Pepper is a staunch Zionist. The point of this isn't that Israel is in the right or all Palestinians are bad. It's to show that he will confidently lie if it makes him look better in the moment. He didn't know about any of
With all his money, why doesn't he take them in and help them? That's what I'm saying, dude. Dude, I have 12 illegal migrants in my house. I give them food, water, shelter. I mean, everything they need. I'm doing my part.
these things, yet he lies to try and act like he's in the right on all of them. It's effortless for him. And it's because he doesn't care about the truth. All he does is anti-West propaganda. It's his brand.
Just like I do propaganda.
I'm a propagandist.
Well, no.
For the record.
And when you call
How are they so unironically racist? Because they're getting high off their own supply, dude. This performative activism and purity testing is conducive to actual brain rot.
Call him out on it, he doesn't correct the record. No, he molds and hides behind the dead bodies of Palestinians to avoid accountability.
I will never forget these monstrous pieces of for looking at a situation like the one happening,
I stole it. I mean, people say it couldn't be done. I mean, snatched it right off.
Unfolding in Gaza and choosing to never say anything about it, only to then make these drama videos to call out the people who call out the Israeli government. It is disgusting.
Nobody cares that you criticize Israel. It's that you're making stuff up. He will then slander people for calling him out, repeating that Lonerbox and Destiny were paid by Israel to go to the West Bank.
Soapbox stance with smooth brain energy is a powder keg for stupidity. Somebody say soap. Somebody say soap, dude. Use cheeky.com/Philion, 10% off. They're actually running a deal right now, 20% off. So if you want some soap, use cheeky.com/Philion, 20% off.
That made the claim admits to making it up. Doesn't matter to Hasan, still reports the lie.
Also, I went on a paid trip to Israel, and that's not weird. Not weird that I went on a paid trip to Israel.
These guys spent their own money to do on-the-ground journalism in the West Bank, recorded and covered how the IDF burnt down fruit markets of civilians, interviewed tons of people. Well, they're Israeli operatives because they don't agree with every single thing that Hasan says. Hasan goes on vacation to France, Japan, Australia, all over the course of the war, and then reads Twitter for his research. Yet he claims he's doing the important journalism.
But if it's between me going live and giving you 10 hours of on the ground, 10 hours of reporting from the ground, at a critical moment, at a critical time, versus not going live that day just so I can go on Piers Morgan and fucking yell at him, I think it's selfish of me to take the Piers Morgan route.
On the ground, dude's either in his hotel suite or the third floor of his LA mansion. When told that he should go to Israel,
It's not really a mansion. I wouldn't consider that a mansion, but it is a multi-million-dollar suburban home in California. And that's not a dig at, mansions. It's just that it doesn't fit the criteria. It's overpriced because of the location, which is a symptom of the fallen West. The West has fallen. We're living in West Fall.
Hasan says he can't because
I'm just saying, when I get my estate, Third Eye Global Compound, it might do some mogging, okay? 50 rooms, limestone, cavernous.
it would be too dangerous.
That's your argument. You got it. You can enter Israel. What's more to say?
Some would say it's an overpriced house.
Brother,
multiple acres, minimum.
I am not going to Nazi Germany, okay? I hope you understand this. Brother, I'm not going to Israel so you can execute me, okay? Stop.
He lives in the Socialist HQ, that's right.
Demanding that I go to Israel. Stop demanding that I go to Nazi Germany.
He was invited to do actual journalism in Gaza, but wouldn't because they couldn't guarantee his safety.
The thinking about going to Gaza thing is also kind of stupid because I was invited by literal journalists that work in Gaza, okay? And I unfortunately most likely will not be able to go because the people that I did talk to said that they could not give me security assurances that Israel would not kill me or anyone really.
How does he think on-the-ground journalism works? There's a danger to it. That's why it's called
Israel equals Nazi Germany. How is a generally Jewish state Nazi?
on the ground. Brandon Buckingham went to Lebanon when Israel was bombing them. Places he was at were bombed the next day. By the time he finished the video, some of the people he was with were now dead. But you know, Hasan, the real journalist, thinks reading Twitter is reporting from the ground. iDubbbz analysis.
I would say that Hasan was very well equipped to talk about that topic. They follow Hasan. Hasan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into.
The only way you would think this is if you're a Hasan fan.
I just don't understand the rampant switch up and like hiding behind Hasan that iDubbbz seems to be doing. Because there's a portion, I don't know if he gets to it in this video, on Hasan's stream where iDubbbz is sitting in the chair, the king's chair, off on the side. Hasan is going on a rant. And it looks like iDubbbz is contemplating his life and decisions that led him up to this point. Bro was actually a Hall of Fame legendary YouTuber at one point. All he had to do was just do nothing, honestly. But it's kind of sad.
I'm more extreme than Ian, where I'm like pretty anti-capitalist. I hate landlords. I hate the system that we're in.
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them.
Result.
Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets...
His mom is a landlord.
Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Whoa, Ian's about to get cucked live.
Is there anything you want to promote while you're here? I don't know.
Creator Clash 2, give us money for charity next year.
All right, Creator Clash 2, guys.
They raised $0 from Creator Clash 2. Even when Ian describes Hasan's America Deserved 9/11 moment, he makes it sound so much more nuanced and sophisticated than it actually was. An anger-induced crash out.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hasan a little bit more and found out.
I can't believe bro is running defense for that statement.
What his international politics opinions are. But you wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online.
If you look at it online, Hasan crashed out because Dan Crenshaw mentioned that military bases are an important part of national and global security.
You're not the only one that's told me this, and particularly not the only one that's told me this that has a military background, saying it's virtually impossible to prevent any of this stuff without having bases over there.
That's 100% right. Yeah, I mean, and you need that relationship with the host nation, of course, that you want to partner with, and that's generally what we do, especially in the special operations team.
I mean, the eye patch. In World of Warcraft, there's an item called Eye of Rend. Check this out. I mean, bro's got the Eye of Rend, dude. It's an absolutely BIS helmet. High-level tech.
Community.
Hasan's academic response was to say that Dan deserved to be raped by soldiers.
What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave soldier, his eye hole with their dick? Isn't that how he lost his dumbass eye?
What? Oh.
Because he got his eye hole. by a brave soldier? America deserved 9/11, dude. We totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit.
And what's funny is if Hasan just played 20 more seconds of the video, Dan would have acknowledged Hasan's frustration.
Is Hasan Muslim? I thought they don't like gays over there. I'm pretty sure he's a non-practicing Muslim. He runs defense for Islam all the time. Christianity and Judaism are, you know, public enemies number 1 and 2. Christian nationalism. It's the biggest danger to the West.
Again, I think it is reactionary to just assume that we.
But this is what we call the Red-Green Alliance. It is the joined forces of Islam and leftism, which on paper makes no fucking sense. But under the Marxist, and this is true, by the way, oppressor versus oppressed dynamic, that's where they see eye to eye. But if you put these alt leftists in the Middle East, I mean, they're not coming out alive.
We have bad intentions all the time and that everything is America's fault. I hear that constantly, mostly coming from the left, but that isolationist sentiment certainly comes from the right as well. And it's a reaction. It's a reaction to the Iraq War and some of the mistakes we made there. These matters are complex, and they deserve complex reasoning and analysis and a little nuanced understanding. And I just think that's how we should look at it. We don't say that we're always right. That's not what I'm saying.
When confronted by his uncle on the Young Turks, Hasan backpedals, blaming it on English being his second language.
But you understand now, and not just now, but you understood fairly soon after you said it, that saying Americans deserve 9/11 is a completely different statement and one that's wrong.
No, I didn't say Americans deserve 9/11. I said America deserves 9/11.
Right, but that's
and
still
in that
wrong.
Moment, well, maybe you can chalk it up to English being my second language or whatever you want to chalk it up to.
What? Get the fuck out of here. You said that in perfect English. Run that back, dude.
And one that's wrong.
No, I didn't say Americans deserve 9/11. I said America deserves 9/11.
Right, but that's
and
still
in that
wrong.
Moment, well, maybe you can chalk it up to English being my second language or whatever you want to chalk it up to.
This wasn't a thoughtful commentary. It's him having an emotional outburst instead of engaging with why Dan is wrong. Maybe he is. I don't know. And then avoiding accountability when he gets criticized. He does this with everybody when the conversation gets slightly complex. I would love to chalk all this up to Ian just not knowing what he's talking about, but it's much more malicious than that. Ian is leaving out context on purpose.
Just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hasan.
Ethan.
The word of the day is empathy.
I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability empathy, and I'm very ashamed.
Yep. Level 32, empathy unlocked. Congratulations. There's many different forms of empathy: logical empathy, emotional empathy. And what I see a large problem with radical leftists is that they have this empathy paradox where it's like they conjure up this delusional amount of empathy with rainbow letters, right? Empathy. But it's misplaced. It's misappropriated. Because they have empathy for people that literally don't tolerate them. They fundamentally disagree. They don't know you, little bro. And then they use it as a leg to stand on to claim moral superiority. That's exactly right.
To admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32, I've acquired empathy.
It is. iDubbbz understanding the word empathy confuses me a bit. You see, when Ethan told a story about how CPS was falsely called because he talked about his kids getting sick, I felt bad for Ethan. Ian felt bad for the accusers.
I just can't help myself but feel for other people's pain and suffering now.
Not once in the initial Content Cop video did Ian mention that CPS was falsely called on Ethan and Hila. It makes the entire video horribly dishonest because it is the catalyst for this entire drama. If you watch the Content Cop, you would think that Ethan was dragging iDubbbz into a drama that he started for no reason.
And it's all culminated, at least for my story, in Ethan burning bridges with people.
This is just like an Et tu Brutus situation. The switch up.
Until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hasan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace.
Dude, I hate this. Maybe he can get some help. Yeah. He's mentally ill. He needs professional help. Because it delegitimizes any sense of discourse. It's like, oh, the person I'm criticizing is not right in the head. Therefore, this problem is larger than internet beef. He needs actual therapy. Like, who are you?
And we can, like, rekindle our friendship.
These other creators are Frogan, who's Hasan's mod, and repeatedly
The pot of greed has been played.
Would write that Ethan hates Arrow for not supporting the October 7th terrorist attacks. On October 7th, she would write, leftists preach and foam at the mouth at the thought of revolution happening in America. But as soon as it happens in the Middle East, what they're doing is wrong. Ethan is apparently a racist for not supporting or calling for terrorist attacks. What else do you call this? Denims would argue that Israelis who do mandatory service should get Nuremberg trial, which was the execution of the 21 worst Nazis in World War II. Ethan's wife did mandatory service as a secretary, yet Gila is apparently the worst of the worst according to Denims.
Personally not a fan of you know, I had to do it, I was forced to do it. I feel like you start getting really close to like
Gotta look something up here. Does Denims have an OnlyFans? Yeah. $20 a month. Anissa has an OnlyFans. OnlyFans is not allowed in the Middle East. That's all I'm saying.
Nuremberg trial type shit there.
She'd hype up the guy who advocated for and jokingly takes credit for calling CPS.
Lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't have...
Her OF is only cosplay? How do you know that? How do you know that? That's crazy, dude. Second of all, why would you pay for that? Right here, officer, right here. Actually, it's just cosplay only.
actually have a housekeeper.
Well, guess what? You can't cosplay in the Middle East
anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog, and he has kids, and his kids.
How about this? If you pay $20 for a cosplay OnlyFans, you're mentally ill.
It's like crawl into the dog, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something, but they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog that is all over his house.
Dude.
Late to the stream, but early to the movement today. Mikey OC, welcome to the fucking stream, my dude.
How is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit. Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other illnesses, it's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. There are lots of things that you can get as an adult. You're totally fine. You'll be A-okay. No problem. A child, a small infant that has no immune system, shouldn't be catching anything.
This chat is an edit compiling the worst messages from Denim's chat, but they are real. You can see the same messages in the top right, which is her live chat. So the guy who made the video is...
Wasn't OnlyFans meant to be like Patreon or something like that, but it got co-opted into softcore porn? Yeah, that's 100% right. That's correct. That's a truthful statement.
Advocating CPS take his kids away. Denims is talking about how careless and shocking it is of Ethan to put his kids in so much danger, as her chat is also echoing that his kids should be taken away. On top of wanting Gila, the mother of his children, executed, which Bad Empanada role plays.
Secretary got...
Meanwhile, Ian's saying, look how unhinged and crazy...
That's disgusting.
Crazy Ethan's acting. He even went after Matt Lieb.
He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb.
Matt Lieb is in this, like, middle tier. His valuable association is Rhett and Link. So, Rhett and Link, conveniently...
Dude, if I was a girl on OnlyFans, I'd be top. Well, I'd be number one in the world. You know how you do that? You gotta work that tease. You never show nip. You never show flaps. You never show hole. But you show everything else. I mean, it's all about the tease. Get the gooners on the edge of their seat. Perpetually edged. In a state of... In a gutonic state.
Are also in this category of popular and powerful men who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with. I think Ethan only respects power right now, which is one of the reasons I made this video in the first place.
The important context, Ian, is that Matt Lieb is constantly platforming Bad Empanada as a good guy.
That sounds wrong. Perpetually edged? No, it sounds 100% right, actually.
We both have bad in our, YouTube names, and yet we are both good. What do you make of that?
Am I good? I don't know.
Dude, imagine your wife being on OnlyFans. I just realized that that's the fate of some men. Holy shit, dude. As a man, how do you live with yourself knowing that men are blowing loads to your wife digitally? That's crazy. Not gonna make it.
I think you're good.
Matt Lieb has also tweeted out, "We gotta save them kids," referring to people trying to get CPS to take away Ethan's children.
I feel like Carl Jung talks about this. While you fall asleep and start dreaming, you just get inflicted with psychic demons.
Ethan Healer simply asking Ian to tweet out that this is crazy, something I and many other creators who have never spoken to the H3 crew did easily. If the same thing happened to Hasan, I would come to his defense.
You know what these people would call me though? Like an incel. An alt-right incel goblin. Honey, the food is ready. Wait a sec, I gotta give jerk-off instructions to Peter. Holy shit, hold on, I just gotta wax this cucumber really quick. And maintain eye contact with the camera.
Because it's not online banter or disagreements at that point, it's real life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm picturing. Imagine all the guys who sub to your wife's OF all show up in your dream and they just haunt you and stalk you and you can never escape them. And when you think you have escaped them, their faces just morph into your wife and then back into another subscriber. That's crazy.
Harassment. When CPS showed up to Ethan's house, Denham seemingly justifies it, saying kids can't form memories at 5, so who cares?
I think it's embarrassing for Ela here to be like, this is so traumatic for the kids. You're trying to traumatize the children. It's
A24 should pick up that idea. They should turn that into a movie.
like, dog, you literally...
Ghost of Gooners Past. I'd watch that. We take a Third Eye Global field trip, sit front row, with our soy blockers on.
Really, the vast majority of people are, like, are not remembering.
All I'm saying is, how is this stream free? How is Third Eye Global Philion TV free? That's...
anything that happened to them at 3. It's just sympathy, right? It's just, she's just pulling, like, the IDF classic card of like, please, my life is so difficult. Please, everyone that is against us.
This is the fill that you get when I have 3 coffees and no lunch.
Needs awful experiences because we're the ones dealing with the real awful experiences.
You're trying to take her kids away. That seems reasonable to complain about as a mother.
I was like, I really don't want you to
this is how I feel.
Any bad memory here for them. Like, they are 5 and 3. They don't understand this shit. So I told him,
create any bad memory for them. You're not forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old. Now, yes, you are. No, you're not. When we're talking about being able to remember, being able to recall memories, it's like 4 is the cutoff.
Third Eye Global is free because of the generous contributions from our CFO and shareholders, 100%.
But even if you are forming any memories at 4, you're not going to be able to remember them past like 15. You have maybe 1 or 2 memories.
She then reads the exact opposite on stream when she looks it up, but then chooses to repeat that she was right.
There's a wide variation about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're not really forming memories at 3.
You literally just read out of your mouth that the average adult starts forming memories at 3.
I don't even think I formed a single memory yet, and I'm 27.
What is happening?
All of these people want to take your kids away because you don't co-sign everything they say. If you don't fall in line with your language, they will try to ruin you. Denims would go on to say that she doesn't condone people calling CPS, but she justified it. Even as she speaks, her chat is calling for CPS.
We're talking about CPS. 1, I don't condone. 2, I've never condoned it, and you will not be able to find a clip of me saying, yes, we should do this, because it doesn't exist. I've literally given Ethan Klein credit on multiple times or multiple instances, and I will do it again right now, for not showing photos of his kids.
I'm sure there's anti-Semitic people that are attacking you guys, but they're not me.
It's her. After seeing all of this, because Ian does know about it, he says Denims is his friend, but Ethan is a halfway friend for wanting him to speak up.
Now I'm not gonna
I really don't care about any of this, but I find it funny how people are triggered. Psh, so based.
sugarcoat it. We are friends with Denim. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation.
I'm not a good person. I'm morally corrupt and spiritually evil. In fact, Jordan B. Peterson had to come up with another term to describe what I am. Dark triad became dark tetrad.
How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core?
It's not tricky at all. She's acting like a demon.
People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know. I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention.
Scallywags fighting skeezers with soy lasers.
Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
You've lost your mind.
I'm still not perfect. I think that is, my empathy meter's only maybe like a quarter of the way filled up, potentially, but it's at least there. And I just want you guys to know that you can unlock ability empathy.
This is the empathy you've learned, empathizing with the people who want to take away his kids and kill his wife. But to Ian, both of these people are crashing out equally.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, one of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them, but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that.
I want to learn empathy at 47.
I'm not gonna make you guys like...
The content cop was a soapbox of whining. Did somebody say soap? Somebody say cheeky, dude? Use cheeky.com/Philion, 20% off, limited time deal. Oh, that smells great. If you want to wash off all the slop, you're gonna want to use Cheeky. Use cheeky.com/Philion, 20% off.
Meet up and kiss or anything.
This isn't just some petty beef where they just can't get along. If your friend is screwing up, you should be able to tell them. But Ian knows that. He just thinks Ethan's the one screwing up. It's genuinely evil that Ian doesn't disclose the extent of the harassment in this video. His audience has no idea because he omits it. Even in his follow-up content deputy, the extent of the harassment is never disclosed. Instead, he tries to find examples of Ethan being dishonest, and they're just wrong.
Ethan Klein uses this very deceptively edited video that is just like doing this smooth scroll to make it seem like that's all of Denim's chat, but that's not what it is. And then when he's called out on it, he hides it. He moves his window over the real chat.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children.
Dude, it is Denim's chat. It's just a compilation of the messages. If iDubbbz just watches the original clip that Ethan is commenting on, you can find the same messages in the chat. The show is called Content Cop, but there is no investigation. Ian then just goes full mask off and says the CPS code was wholly justified.
To be honest, I'm very proud that I didn't immediately jump to Ethan and Hila's defense, because when you look into the story, it actually looks a lot
I don't even know what they're talking about anymore.
for Ethan and Hila. And I do mean that literally.
This is the panopticon of soy. Check this out. Foucault talks about this. is what we call a panopticon. In this case, the panopticon of soy. In the center, you have the beacon of soy. And around it, you have all the constituents forced to endure it, never knowing when the soy is present and when it's going to leave. Pretty much stun locking you for eternity. Many such cases. A lot of streamers get lost in it.
There was this H3 stream where Ethan was dumping as per usual. He was talking about his own health. He was talking about his caca breath, his dog having diarrhea, his dog having giardia.
Olive has giardia. It's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
His child running around putting things in their mouth.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth.
I think the general idea is Ian doesn't want to be friends with Ethan because Hasan is more popular and everyone wants to sit at the popular table. I identify with some of those conclusions. I foresee some of them being potentially true.
He's at that age. He has giardia.
The whole family possibly having giardia.
And now Ela has giardia.
Shut. For real?
Imagine sitting at a table though, like, so I'm already at recess.
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my God.
Mentioned diarrhea a lot.
Crazy diarrheas like in the middle of the night. All the time he's having these crazy diarrheas.
This is like Mean Girls, but gay.
You wash your hands as best you can, but these are really nasty diarrheas.
I guess this is all you need to justify calling CPS, according to Ian.
So of course, Ethan, having made so many enemies over the years, other people react to his content. And when other people see that he's talking about his children getting giardia from dog poop, people are quite reasonably concerned. And so, yes, anyone who...
Sometimes I have to catch myself. Because this timeline is, I know it's the correct timeline, that this is present reality, but it seems foreign, it seems alien. It seems like everyone owes me 10% of their grain in the form of a digital slop tax.
Seeing that content might be concerned enough to call CPS, including Ethan's own chat, which, by the way, is not a measly number. It's about 26,000 at the time of this stream.
What's more likely, Ethan's chat laughing and goofing around, or Denim's chat saying call CPS and then CPS shows up 3 days later? It's obviously Denim's. He's being dishonest.
Hopefully this is the last chapter in the Soy Vengers saga.
Honest. Ian also says that's completely...
Why exactly do we have to watch this again? We don't have to. We really don't have to. But at this point, we're too far in. This is a sunken cost fallacy. I mean, let's see here. What do we got? Anything groundbreaking? Let's go to the last chapter. Let's go to the last chapter.
Ian's empathy tour ends with him blindsiding all of his fighters after tainting it with this drama. According to Harley, the main event fighter for Creator Clash 1, 2, and 3, H3's audience was a big percentage of the ticket sales and promotion for the event.
H3 sold the most tickets to Creator Clash 1 and 2, I believe. I think they did a lot of tickets.
Wait. Is that true?
I would think that, wouldn't you? Like, what else? What other entity promoted Creator Clash?
Well, I think that personally, but I'm not the current headliner for the third card, so they want to hear it from you, not me.
The H3 podcast promoted Creator Clash 1 and 2 more than anyone. So of course Ian makes a video on Ethan alienating that whole audience, but...
Did Phil see the CNN clip from the ADL about Hasan? No. Can you link it? Throw it in the Discord. Throw it in the hive mind.
Also making the war in the Middle East a fundamental talking point of the event.
I don't know about the other fighters, but just for me, like, I'm just kind of like, oh, cool, the fun little charity fundraiser has now been attached to a decades-long bloody holy war in the Middle East. It's whatever.
This was it, right here.
Cuck chair. As he all over drama stream.
Hold on.
about.
Come on, dude. You're one step away from calling me a cuck. Just take the plunge.
You're a cuck. But even worse, you're mentally cucked. You're sitting on Hasan's stream in the cuck chair as he shits all over drama streamers.
This is what I was talking about earlier.
Slowly realizing that you fit the description.
That's part of the reason why I often don't fight back against a lot of these people that are fueling these hate raids and brigades, is because I know I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
That's misreporting the news and lying.
And eventually all of that is going to be background noise. And those people, they have a shelf life. They have a shelf life because they don't have the same stubborn nature that I do. They don't have the same interests as I do. They inevitably become their own worst enemies. They inevitably cook themselves. You might think you're riding high on the slop for a little bit. You might think you're getting showered with praise. An army of anonymous Redditors telling you you're brilliant. But at the end of the night, when you go home and you sit down and you look yourself in the mirror, you're not going to recognize who you've become. That's it. It's turning into a lolcow of a different variety. That's what I think.
I feel like he might have realized that he made a mistake here.
That's so mean.
It's mean because it's you.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get in, get out. I mean, it's radioactive. The levels of soy are radioactive. We got to get the fuck out of here, dude.